Is Bitcoin and Litecoin crashing? What's up, guys? Crypto Savvy here. I want to wish everybody a happy Friday and a great weekend. We're going to take a look at Litecoin and Bitcoin, see where it might be headed, see what it's looking like. Could we keep going down? Do we bounce up from here? What are we going to do? We're going to take a look at that. Also, stick around. Check out the charts that nobody else is comparing or watching except us on this channel. And I guess nothing else matters. I just can't believe other people aren't looking at it. But anyways, that's the Bitcoin daily chart versus the gold weekly chart. So definitely stick around to the end of the video and we're going to do that comparison. If you haven't seen it already, I definitely suggest that you stick around and watch that. But also I want to remind you guys, we have a free Discord link in the description box below the video. Totally free Discord. We don't charge a thing. Everybody's in there helping each other out. Doesn't matter how much experience you have. Jump in there, ask questions. Awesome community, guys. And there's some other links down there too. There's a ABRA link, Coinbase link. You sign up, make a deposit, get you some free Bitcoin. Also, Ledger link. Keep your cryptos off the exchange if you're not trading them, guys. Keep them safe. Not your keys, not your crypto. And Brave browser link down there also. Awesome browser, guys. If you haven't checked it out, I suggest you do. Just click the Brave browser link, download it, and check it out. Either you like it or you won't, but I'm assuming you will. Anyways, let's get on with the video, see what the charts are telling us today. All right, guys, as always, I want to start out by saying I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is my opinion and my view of the market only. Anybody that's doing any trading or investing in this market, I suggest you do your own due diligence and your own research, as this market can be extremely volatile and risky. Also, keep in mind, it's still a speculative market. Don't put in more than you're willing to lose. And with that being said, if you are new here or you haven't already, definitely click the subscribe button in the lower right-hand side of the screen and tick that notification bell. That'll get you notified when I post new videos, as I do post every day. That way you don't miss out on anything. Smash the likes, guys. See the little thumb down there? Smash it. And leave your comments. Let me know what you think of the video. That'll also get you entered to win a free t-shirt. We do the drawing on Sunday. So yeah, let's get into the charts. So this is Litecoin on the daily, and we'd been looking at this neckline area of the $95 range and looking at this as a cup and a handle, and we broke out. If that's what it was, we've broke out of that range, and the measured move here, guys, would be the 167 area. I'm still targeting that area pretty heavily. We also could be looking at, this right here at the 108 area being another neckline, and this still being a cup, but up to the 108 and then back down. That's a very small handle, but it is definitely possible. And I do want to do the measured move off that and show you guys 192 range. And I also have another thing pointing at 192 when we check out the more immediate time frames. But let's take a look at this too. I want to look at this white line here as resistance, and this yellow line down here is support, and that's the long-term trend line. And we are going to take a look at both the bearish and the bullish scenario, guys. So anyways, if we looked at this as a rising broadening wedge, and if we were to break out, in this area, and we're going to check out, that would be around the 145 range is where I'm thinking. But if we were to break out, that gets us up to the $240 range. But like I said, we're going to stick to where we're at now. And obviously that doesn't matter until we get more data, but let's take a look at the RSI. And as you see, we've been watching this as the resistance and support of this rising channel. We had a little bear trap here and pop back in. Let's go into the 4 hour, and looking at the 4 hour, there was a falling wedge here. This would be, if we look at the yellow lines, this would be the top, which is the resistance, and this is the support on the bottom. And then within that, we had this falling wedge, which we broke out of here, had a nice move up, and then came into this falling channel, broke out of that, came into another falling channel, broke out of that, and now it seems we're in another falling channel. Question is, do we break up There's also this blue lines here. This is a rising channel, and this would be the resistance line, and this one down here, the support line. And we'd broken out of obviously here and broke back in, and now we're broken down out of the channel again, which is in this falling channel. I do believe we're probably going to come up and at least test the bottom of this channel again, and we'll have to keep an eye on that. If it does get resistance here and come down, we could be coming all the way back down in this area for a big drop. But I think we have more of a possibility of moving up from here, and we're going to take a look in the price action. As always, I'm going to start out with the bearish scenario first, and then we'll look at the bullish scenario. So, all right, looking at what we have here, this is a trend line I drew in a while back that we broke down out of. And if you guys were in Discord, we were watching this and thinking we were going to break back up in there, which we did. And that was, what, a couple weeks ago. But I do have this rising wedge drawn here, rising broadening wedge with the blue lines. I am kind of looking at this a little different now, and I want to show you guys how I do this with the channels, because channels should be even. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone this line, and I'm going to bring it down here where it's obviously we're touching, you know, we have our 3 touches here, actually 4, which confirms this line. And now there's a bundle of them down here. You could count this as 2 touches, and then this another one up here. So it does look like we're in a rising channel now. I do want to keep this line here though, just in case. And I'm going to just thin it out a little bit. So what we're looking at now, if we're to break down past this, say 103 area, then my next line of support would be this trend line here at $100. And if that was to break, like I said, we're looking at the bearish case scenario. I'm thinking this will probably hold here, and if not, the 100 should hold. But just keep an eye on it. I hope you guys are charting along and learning how to chart, so it makes the market a whole lot less scary. So anyways, if that was to break, then I'm looking at the $90 range, which would be the bottom of this rising broadening wedge. If that was to break, obviously, you know, then we're looking at the $62 range. And as you can see over here, it was major resistance for quite a while. So I do believe if we were to break down, guys, I don't think we're gonna. But if we do, we'd be headed towards that $62 range. Worst case scenario would be the $53 range, which would be this long-term trend line on the bottom. Since we bottomed out over here. So like I said, that's worst case scenario. Now we're going to look at the bullish scenario again. And like I said, looking at this as a rising channel now, I am still looking at where this channel, the top of this would meet this trend line here, would meet this trend line here, which is my, obviously the bigger rising wedge channel that I had shown you in the beginning. If we were to break out from here, I do have a measured move, still using this as a rising, widening, broadening wedge. But that target gets us up to the $200 range. Whoops, sorry about that. That target gets us up to the $200 range, if that's a wedge. But like I said, now I'm looking at it more as a channel. So like I said, this is the cup and handle target that I'm still definitely looking at, the 167. I really believe we're headed there before a big correction. And like I said, this 192 is the other, the bigger cup and handle, which is possible, but you know, not 100% sure there. Let's do a measured move off this channel. And how you do that is you take the top of the channel, measure to the bottom of the channel, and then you take and move it up here. If we were to break out up out of this channel, that also gets me up to around the 185 range. So 185, 192, that, you know, is still pointing up. So it's definitely possible. Let me get that out of there. But that's what I'm looking at. Like I said, definitely watch the bottom of this around the 103 area, and if that was to break, I'd be expecting support on the $100 area, and if that was to break, like I said, $90 area. So let's look at Bitcoin now. I'm looking at Bitcoin on the daily. Okay, we were looking at this as a cup and a handle, and our target for that we've already hit, and that was around the $8,400 range. Now what I'm looking at here is, sorry, this is kind of cluttered. I didn't have a whole lot of time to get in and mess with the charts, but I do have some definitely interesting things to talk about here. So first off, I want to look at this first. We were looking at this as you look at this top trend line here, and then the bottom trend line here, a rising broadening wedge, and we had broke out the top here. So the measured move off that would be the $9,600 range, and I am still pretty confident in that, guys, that we're going to reach that area before a bigger correction, at least that area. I've been saying that for a while, and I'm sticking to it. Now we're going to take a look at this here being let me zoom in a little bit so you can see it. Try to get rid of the clutter a little bit. Again, I apologize for the clutter. But looking at this as a bull flag from where we broke out here, this is a triangle everybody was watching that we had a breakout of here. And if we take this flagpole and put it up to the top of this where it broke out, the target for that would be the $10,600 range. I do believe that is still possible. Definitely possible. We're headed up there. And also, I want to take that same flagpole measurement, looking at this as a rising wedge on the top of that. And if we break through the top of it within the next few days, maybe this weekend, 11.6 is my target there. I'm not saying we'll hit that by this weekend, guys. I'm saying that would be the target of the breakout above this wedge here. Excuse me. Now, we're going to zoom into the smaller time frames and take a look at the bearish scenario, then the bullish scenario. But first, we're going to look at the RSI. And looking at the RSI here, we were in this rising channel for quite some time, guys, since the end of November is where it started. And we broke down here, and I drew another support line lining up with the old one here, and we got support here. It broke back through into the channel over here, and now we've broken down, and we're below this bottom one, which kind of concerns me, but it's still possible we bounce right back in, guys, because I feel like we have another touch up here in the RSI at least. But let's look at the 4 hour. All right, so on the 4 hour, same thing. We had this rising channel that we've been in forever. And then we're looking at this as rising wedge, which we broke down out of here. And looked as if we were getting into a rising channel, which now obviously we've broken down out of. Question is, do we come back down and touch the bottom of this rising channel? Or do we continue up from here and come test this channel again? Could go either way, and we're going to take a look at that. Like I said, we'll take a look at the bullish and the bearish scenario. We're going to look at the price action now in the 4 hour, and we'll start out with the bearish scenario as always. All right, so this is the top. This is the top of that where we broke out of this, looking at this as a bull flag. And we had this wedge drawn in here, right here, using this line here, and this line here is the top of the wedge. And yesterday we had obviously the big push up and then drop down, and we had a measured move of that wedge all the way down to the 6,600 area, which could be in play. And that's a measured move from measuring the widest point of the wedge here and bringing it down, and that would be this line here to where we broke down. And that gets us to the $6,600 range. Now, in the end of the video, when we take a look at the Bitcoin daily chart versus gold weekly chart, it kind of matches up with where I see major support. But we don't have to go down there yet. Like I said, we are just looking at the bearish scenario first. If you guys watched yesterday's video, I had put this target in as to watch for support right around the $84, $88, $8,500 range. And if you were watching when this drop happened, that tried to support it, and then we broke through, and I had my next target. And guys, I had this on yesterday's video, so definitely check it out if you haven't, to know I'm not bullshitting you, that I had this target here as the next support, and that's because of this trend line here being the top of this bull flag that we broke out of, and then we come back down and tested it and got, you know, continue up. That's why I believe it's very possible we continue up from here. It also lined up with this trend line I had here. You can see the support broke through, broke back up in, got support again, broke down, broke back up through, and got support again. So this trend line here matched up with the top of that bull flag, and that's why I had this target here, and it hit almost on the dot. What did we hit there? Like 79.80, something like that, but almost on the dot, guys. So cheers if you caught that and you got back in for this move. But anyways, I wanted to point that out. And like I said, the worst case scenario on that would be down to this $6,600 range, which would be the measured move of the wedge and the breakdown, which also lines up where the wedge started right over here. All right, now let's take a look at the bullish scenario. And all right, so obviously this 96.22 was our target from the cup and handle that I am still targeting this range. I have drawn this new trend line in here. I didn't have this in here yesterday. I just had this wedge here, the smaller one. Now I've drawn this one in, and I hope it's not too cluttered for you guys, but I like all this stuff. Keeping it in here definitely keeps everything in perspective. These all become important again at some point. Like if we come back up here, we're going to be testing the bottom of this smaller wedge. But like I said, looking at this as a bigger wedge, now I see us possibly coming up, you know, towards that $9,600 area. So looking at this as a bigger wedge now, we would use the same line for breakdown. If we continue up in it, I'm sorry if I'm confusing you guys, but we'll take a measured move off it, which would be the same as a smaller wedge. And if we were to continue it up in it and break down back over here, you know, then I believe we're still continuing up. I believe this is still parabolic. So I'm not going to look at any more lower targets. We already looked at that. I'm going to look at the bullish targets. Excuse me. And by looking at the bullish targets, obviously, looking at this as a flagpole, this is the bull flag, which the one we broke out of and just retested. And we would take this to the top of the breakout, and that gets us up to that 10.6 area. And I don't know why it's not on my 4-hour, but we looked at it on the daily. That'd be the 10.6 area. And like I said on the daily, if we broke out higher, that gets us up to the 11.6 area. So that is definitely, I'm still steering up here, guys. I don't think it's ready to fully correct yet. Let's go into the Bitcoin daily chart and compare it. I want you guys to take a look at this. Take a look at I have trend lines drawn from each peak in Bitcoin to where it broke down at the 6,000. And we'll zoom in a little bit and you'll see each one started as resistance and became support when we broke through. Take a good look at this. Keep an eye on this yellow line. This is my year-end target, $46,000. I'm still sticking to that, guys, until anything changes. And if it does, in my opinion, changes, I'll let you know. But in my opinion, this is my target for end of the year. 4,600 could possibly go higher. I'm not saying it's stopping there, but that's my target by the end of the year. Now let's take a look at the gold chart. Take a look. Here's the Bitcoin daily. Here's the gold weekly. Look at the resemblance in that. A pattern is a pattern. And I believe, show me the charts, I'll tell you the news. And right in here, 2003, the gold ETF was approved. And you can see what it done to gold. I know people say it won't affect Bitcoin. It's not going to help that much. Well, I think that's bullshit. Just like I think the hyperwave's bullshit, because if you look at this, if this looks a whole lot like what they're saying is a hyperwave in Bitcoin, it would have got gold all the way down to like $50, $25 maybe, whatever. But that's why I believe the hyperwave is bullshit. It's just a clickbait crap. If you watch the guy, he don't even know how to use his damn trading view. And I've watched him draw lines now and say he's drawing lines right through bodies and whatnot to try to, I don't know. Just if you guys are following that crap, you know, take it with a grain of salt. I don't believe in the hyperwave in any way, shape, or form. And I don't understand why they don't look at this chart as a hyperwave, bring that up. You know, it's kind of funny they don't compare it. But if you look just how it bottomed out here, look how gold bottomed out. 2 touches on this bottom trend line. Look how Bitcoin bottomed out. 2 touches on the bottom trend line. Same nice rounded bottom. And if you look, we seem to be right in this area. As you can see where it, you know, after it bottomed out the second time, this nice rounded bottom, and then come up and then a little sideways action and burst up, some more sideways action. Kind of looks like where we're at right here. So I'm going to zoom in now. But anyways, I do want to point out, this is, if you look at this yellow line, this is why I'm saying 46,000 by the end of the year. But anyways, let's zoom in a little bit closer to this and stick around. We're going to check out the RSI too in the long term compared to the 2013. So anyways, just like in gold, 2 touches on the bottom coming up, obviously. And now this is why I say I believe we're going to continue up higher from here. I still believe this is going parabolic. So I do see higher moves, but I know everybody's expecting a big correction. This line down here, I believe, is going to hold. This was our last point. This was our last point of resistance from all the peaks to where it broke down at 6,000. And obviously you can see we came up. We came down to test it here in this long wick. Not sure if that counts or not for the retest. So, but if we were to correct from right now, coming back down to test this at around the 6,600 range, which lines up with my low targets over there, that's about a 26% correction. If we were to move up to the $96 range, it becomes a 30% correction. The 10.6 range, which I also had a target in, 37. And if we go all the way up to the 11.6 range, we're looking at about a 45% correction. So guys, I don't believe we'll ever see, I know this is going to be a bold statement, but I don't believe we're ever going to see below 6,600 again. Again, that's my opinion, but I'm pretty confident in that this trend line here will not break. Anyways, let's go into the RSI. We're going to go into the weekly. And if you haven't seen this, definitely check it out, because we're going to do the monthly after this. This is the 2013 bull market, followed by the bear market. I drew this trend line here. You can see we had 2 touches, 2 points of resistance. We broke through, began the bull market. This is 2017 bull market, 2018 bear market. Same trend line, 2 points of resistance. We broke through. We're in the bull market. Now, another thing I want to point out is obviously you can see how once we got overbought, we come down, you know, obviously come down, then raise back up. We got another overbought here. And if you look at how much this corrected, I'm going to go into the log screen. And if you look at how much this corrected, it wasn't very huge corrections. You know, it looks like it in the RSI, but obviously this is where we broke out of that trend line. And over here, this is where we broke out of that trend line. I believe it's just up from here, guys. Not to say we're not going to correct, but like I said, if you're looking for a Bitcoin under 6,600, you'll be lucky to get it then. And I think if you're looking for it under 6,600, your ass out. I don't believe it's going to happen. So let's look at the monthly RSI now and take a look at what's going on with that. As you can see, I have the two arcs drawn here. The beginning of this one over here is 2013 bull market followed by the bear market. This is 2017 bull market followed by the bear market. So as you look, I have 4 arrows here. Each one of these arrows represents a low in the RSI before the bull run started. Same thing over here. Each one of these arrows in 2018 bear market represents a low in the bear market. And we bottomed out right around the same area, and we're continuing up from here. The only difference here, guys, I think is going to be this arc is going to be way quicker, and it may even be quicker than that, something like this. But that's my view of the market and what I think is going on. So if you're getting all paranoid, thinking we're, Bitcoin's dropping down these new lows or the hyperwave BS, good luck to you. And if you're trying to get a Bitcoin lower than $6,600, good luck to you. I doubt it. But anyways, don't forget to check out the free Discord, guys. And if you do like the video and you like the content, hit the Crypto Savvy logo above my head. That'll get you subscribed to the channel. Tick the notification bell to get you notified when I post new videos. Smash those likes. Leave your comments. Let me know what you think. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow.